Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. I am so excited about my guest tonight. But before I introduce her, please send us your questions, your comments. We are so looking forward to answering them. And make sure you stay until the end for a very special bonus. Okay, so my guest today is an internationally acclaimed mezzo-soprano. She has sung in some of the biggest theaters in the world: the Metropolitan Opera, the Wiener Staatsoper, Bayerische Staatsoper, Covent Garden. I could go on and on. We've known each other for at least 10 years, and we've sung together countless times. I am so happy to introduce the fantastic mezzo and my wonderful friend, Angela Brower. Hi!
Hey everyone, thanks for having me, Laura. This is so fun.
Oh, I'm so happy you're here. Thank you so much for doing this.
Absolutely, anytime.
We actually, this is not the first time that we're together in this format.
Right.
About a month ago, I think it was. So Angela has this fantastic series called Finding Your Voice, and I was so happy to be her first guest
You were my
on that
first. You
series. It
never
was so
forget. You
fun.
never forget. It was fun.
No, in that series we talked about my beginnings and my journey, and now I'm so happy to have you here to discuss yours because you have a very special and particular journey. And very impressive, if I might say.
Thank
So
you.
I'm just going to start from there.
Okay.
Okay. So, and you were raised in Arizona. You got your bachelor's in Arizona
Arizona.
State,
Yep, Arizona State University.
and you then started your master's at Indiana University, which is a great university.
Yep.
But while you were doing your master's, you got accepted at the studio of the prestigious Bayerische Staatsoper, and
Absolutely.
that's incredible because to still be a student and to be accepted into one of the best studios in the world is just it's so impressive. And if you think that's impressive, there's so much more to come. I'm just telling that to our audience. um Tell us how you discovered your voice and what was your beginning in finding your voice. Do you come from a musical family?
So I grew up with music kind of in the home. My
Mhm.
mom is an amateur pianist, and when I was younger, she was teaching piano lessons. And so she would have Suzuki cassette tapes. So
Oh, those
Suzuki
are great.
is a method, is a way of teaching an instrument. So first you listen to the music, which was on the cassette tape, and you read the music, and then you play it. Which so that all we always had piano music kind of going on in the house, and then my dad loved playing guitar, and so we had kind of the
Oh, how
rock and roll
nice.
side and the blues side and like the classical side, and then we're very religious, and so we had religious music, kind of hymns, hymnals
It's
all over
always
in the
beautiful.
house. And yeah, and so we kind of grew up. My mom was really the instigator for us being musically trained, which I'm very appreciative of. She made us all learn an instrument, and she made us, whether we wanted to or not, learn the piano and then another instrument. So I learned piano, kicking and screaming. I now wish I had like continued my lessons, right? As I'm trying to do like singing and playing at the same time. But then she noticed that
You just answered
singing
my next question.
yeah, singing was what my where my
If
true
you
passion
wanted it,
lied,
if
because
you really enjoyed it, yeah.
yeah, it was something that came easier to me than anything else in my whole life. So I grew up very crafty. I would paint, I would draw, and as a young girl, I would kind of make up songs, as most young toddlers do. They kind of just make up songs when they're playing. But I thought I was going to be a visual artist. I was very crafty into scrapbooking and like coloring and doing cool like pencil drawings and stuff like that.
Painting.
But then yeah, and then once I you know, I don't even know. I think I was what, 13, maybe 12 or 13 when my church congregation had a program, like a religious oratorio, and my friend said, "Hey, you should try out for that." And so I did, and I got one of the solos in this big program, which was unheard of because I was so young. And so that's kind of when I thought, when people started recognizing, "Oh, she can sing." And I just was so naive. I thought, "Well, yeah, everybody can sing. Like we all just sing. We sing in church. Like everybody can sing because in my house everybody kind of knew how to sing." And my brothers, they won't sing anymore. Like I used to sit at the piano on Sunday evenings and we'd all gather together and we'd like sing music theater or sing gospel songs or whatever. And
That's
now
so
they won't do that. When
beautiful.
I come home to visit, they're like, "I'm not singing in front of you." But we all could carry, like, we could all carry a tune, right? So it kind of was just part of my home environment. So, but
Well,
I did learn through that experience that, oh, I do have a voice. Like that one tryout that kind of set me apart because I just thought it was just totally normal. I didn't think I was
yeah,
anything special. But that one experience really proved to me, oh, maybe this is something that not everybody could do and that maybe I could be really good at. So through then I stopped doing my art classes and I went into choir. And then that was, the end.
a lot of singers have started singing in choirs in their local church choirs. A lot of
Yeah,
famous singers, and you were talking recently to Jennifer Johnston, our colleague and our friend, who's
right.
speaking of that. And there's a huge culture also in even in Romania, also, and in America. And I think that's really something that can can form you. And that's where you actually were, from what I'm understanding, aware of the gift that you have. Because beforehand, it's fun, it's easy, this is what comes natural. But then
You
when
know what?
people make you aware of it, it's
Yeah, and choir just really encouraged me because I was very shy and very insecure, and I am kind of still to this day, but I've grown a little bit. But choir was a safe place because I was surrounded by people and we were all singing something together. And it's not that I was afraid of my voice because I at that point when I was a teenager, I realized that I had a good voice because people kept telling me, "Oh my gosh, you have a beautiful voice." And so then I was like, "Oh, maybe I do." And then, it just kind of came naturally, but it was a safe place to be in a group of people for me to explore my musicality as a teenager, which has then grown since then. Oh, Serena,
that's
everybody's
fantastic.
joining. Thank
Let's take a moment to say hi to everybody joining us. This is fantastic. Hi, Maria. Hi, Tim and Tony and Gregory and Karen and Serena and Keith. Dorothea, hi. Oh,
you.
this is wonderful. So many lovely people, so many dear friends. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is great. And okay, so you sang in the choir, you pursued it further, you went to the university
Yeah.
and you got an education there, and then what made you decide to apply for this studio, to the studio here? Did you apply for more, or
For the one in
how was
Munich.
that? Yeah.
So my journey to Munich was really interesting. I again was super insecure about my voice and I was being told by people I trusted who were afraid of the music industry that I should be cautious. I kind of just grew up being very cautious and this is not a stable income, so be really careful so I just thought, okay, this will never happen. Like I'll never have a career. I didn't even think it was an option to have a career, believe that or not, because it just where I grew up, it wasn't part of the culture. So when I went to grad
Yeah.
school, my teacher, I will never forget the one lesson. I had been there for a year. I was starting my second year. And he's like, "Do you want to sing or not? What are you doing? You're wasting your time." At this point, I hadn't been doing any auditions. I hadn't been doing any young artist programs. And I'll never forget. I was like, "Yes, I do. I do want to be a singer." And I needed somebody to confront me and say, "Well, then you need to start taking yourself seriously." And so I applied to a young artist program in New York, and that summer got accepted. And two representatives from Munich came to that young artist program and heard me.
Wow.
This is what's funny. There was an audition sheet and everybody signed up except for me I was not done with my education. I had a year left. And then I thought, I don't know if I like Germany. Like, I don't know if I like German food or, I'm not done with my education. So maybe I just won't do it. And I'll never forget that Saturday. Everybody was auditioning and I was at home going, oh, maybe that was a mistake, but no, but I'm too shy. I'm too nervous. I'm not ready. Like, I don't even know what vocal technique is. I really just didn't think I knew anything. Right. So I was I was covering somebody, as you do as a young artist. You learn new roles and you cover the principal artist. So the principal artist
Yeah.
for
And
the Saturday evening rehearsal that evening had to do something else, and so that means I had to take over. So Saturday goes by. They do all these auditions. And then I go to this rehearsal, right? And the two representatives from Munich come to the rehearsal and they hear me sing. And I was singing Julius Caesar Handel, which is a role that is way too low for me, but I was singing in a rehearsal anyway.
what a
And they were like,
fabulous role in opera.
and they said to me, "Why didn't you sign up for the audition?" And I just kind of sheepishly said, "Oh, I don't know." And then after, and they kept, and I had to go back. It was one of those rehearsals where you're called and then anyway. But the end of the rehearsal, they said, "Listen, tomorrow's Sunday. We were going to go back to Manhattan because this young artist program was just outside Manhattan, kind of like
Mhm.
in the countryside of New York. But we're going to stick around tonight because we want to hear you audition for us tomorrow, a private audition. Will you do that?" And I said, "Yes." And they said, but I told them, this is the good Christian girl I was. I said, "But I have to go to church. It's Sunday, so I have to go to church first." So I made them wait all morning as I was at church. It took me an hour to drive to church, and church was 3 hours long. And then it took me an hour to drive back. So that afternoon, I finally came back and auditioned, and they basically offered me the option on the spot. And they said, why wouldn't you, what?" And I said, "Well, I'm not done with my education. That's why." And so, anyway, through a series of events, I was convinced by my professors to take this opportunity. That's why you go to school. Like, what are you doing? Don't even second guess it. So that's what happened. I left IU and I came to Munich, and that was almost 12 years ago. I can't believe it. So, yeah. Anyway,
So
that's my story.
this is absolutely incredible. God works in mysterious ways. That's so clear to me because
Yeah.
you said no to something. You said, "No, I'm not ready." But still, it happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
I remember, yes, so we've known each other for 12 years now. That's
Yeah.
that's all. I can't believe how fast time has passed by. I remember you're there, and you debuted with a big role on stage with Dorabella in Così fan tutte. I remember that so clearly, and I remember, we were all rooting for you. This was so exciting because you were still in the studio.
Yeah.
You were still in the studio, and you got this incredible opportunity to do this fantastic role, a role which has taken you everywhere in the world, the
Yeah.
Dorabella,
It's been one
which
of my
is
signature roles.
incredible. How did you feel then?
How did I
How did
feel?
it feel when you got the news, when they asked you? Yeah, because you were new there, but they trusted you, and you saw that they trusted you with a really big task
Yeah.
in doing this. Fantastic to see and to be there, and I'm so happy that I was.
Sorry, the internet's really bad, so I'm not catching all that you're telling me. I
Yeah,
hope
there's a bit of a
that you can
we're so sorry. There's a bit of a delay, but I think we're still getting through. So we're just gonna go on with this. And tell me how that was for you debuting that, because that was the first thing, and
Yeah.
the second thing that I want to go because Dorabella is a role that has taken you everywhere in the world.
Sorry, can you repeat that?
Dorabella's a role that has taken you everywhere in the world. So
Yes.
I'd
Yes.
like to know how that beginning was, how debuting that role was for you.
Oh, 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 I mean, it was
A little,
that famous kind of trio. I could see my
that is the most
reflection
beautiful piece.
in the lighting booth because the lighting booth was right on the same level as the three of us were standing. And I just remember looking at myself like it was a mirror. And I kind of lost myself for a second, going, "Oh my gosh, I'm on stage at the Bayerische Staatsoper, and this is like I'm living my dream that I didn't even know I had." It's so funny, right? I had this dream in my heart that I wasn't allowing to come to fruition, but yet here it was coming to fruition finally. So, but yeah, but we can talk. I know you want to introduce this clip, so I'm going to let you talk about
So
this clip that you want to
after
introduce.
after you did this Dorabella, which was it was wonderful, and I remember you coming out on stage for your applause. You had the biggest, most beautiful smile, and everybody cheered you, and it was so wonderful. Um, and you did. Then you were hired in the ensemble as an ensemble member, of which I was also a part of at the time. And very soon after that, again, you were trusted with an incredible task, and that was the premiere of Tales of Hoffman. New production, Rolando Villazon, Diana Damrau, title roles. I mean, Diana was doing all four roles, and you were doing Niklaus. Now, before I get into that, before we delve into that, because this is really a big subject, I would love to share a clip of you singing the violin aria. Hold on, we're gonna get this.
Eh bien, les violons aussi ont une âme.
Wow. Wow. Angela, that was incredible. Everybody, please, if
It's
you
been
have
so
questions
long since
for
I've
Angela,
heard that.
it was amazing. Ask her all your questions. Tell her what you thought of that video. Just write to us. We're so happy to hear from you. And that was fantastic. It
Oh,
was
thank you
so
so much.
incredible. I remember that night because I was there. I was in the audience. I remember the reaction the audience had when you came out for your applause. It was thrilling. It was so
Thank you.
incredible. But to be able to debut a role like that, it takes a lot of work and it takes a lot of practice and a lot of discipline. How was that period for you? How was that rehearsal period? And how was the period after that? Because that was your big break.
Yeah.
That was
You know what?
really a big break.
I'm really grateful that I was completely unaware of the opportunity that that actually was, and that was given to me by the casting director. That was planned like in a year in advance, and I had never looked at the role before. I learned it for those rehearsals, and I had never met. Well, that's not. I had met Rolando. I had sung with him once on stage, but he didn't know me. And the force of nature that he is, and how like we really bonded over that period of working together and had many projects then after that. That was just kind of the start of that wonderful friendship. But
How
yeah, I kind of was clueless, and I'm grateful for my naivete because I really
It's a good
just
thing.
didn't know. Yeah.
Sometimes that's better. Sometimes it's
Yeah,
better
I
to not
agree.
realize and you go in, you do the work, you're happy, you're excited, you're a little nervous because it's normal,
Yeah.
but you're not aware of what it means. And that night meant really a lot because it was a huge success for you. And
Yeah.
you know, how did you deal with what happened after that? How did that success, how did you deal with that success? Has it how has it changed your life?
Yeah, it was the and thank you for everybody saying kind things about me in the comments. Thank you. It was
It's fantastic.
life-changing. It was really it kind of put me on the map um because I was singing with such amazing international superstars. So it was just like, oh, who's this girl along with everybody else on this stage, right? And it just kind of was the perfect fit for me, that role. And that, yeah, so meeting Rolando Villazon was the turning point from being just kind of an okay, like up and coming to, oh, she's the next thing. And he really knew the right people, and he introduced me to then my manager who I worked with for many, many years. And, that's through him, I was able to get Deutsche Grammophon contracts and
Mhm.
worked with big names. Because of the agency combined with Rolando, it was just kind of this like enterprise. Like, okay, now you're part of our team. We're going to put you with the best artists and the best conductors in the best projects we know of, and that really helped boost my career tenfold. So yeah, that was a really exciting time for me, and it lasted a couple years, and it was like a big high. And it's nice to kind of, since that time, I've now switched to a different agency, and my career's just it's still going pretty strong. I have some amazing things coming up, but it's just not as like crazy intense as it was during that time. So
Well, I don't think it always has to be that crazy and that intense. I mean, there are times for that. There are times to just, even this time, this period now, it's been really kind of, I mean, there hasn't really been anything happening for anyone at the moment, but it's a great time to really set some things, whether it's something personal, whether it's planning other things to come that are exciting. And the thing is, no matter who you sing for, you're always going to give it your best.
yeah,
That never
absolutely.
changes. that never changes. And success is very different for everybody.
Yeah, and
But that will
I think we're always evolving as artists, and so are our careers, because we're not machines and we're not just like stamping out a product. We're changing as people as we get older, as we gain more experience, and as our voice changes. For women, our voice is constantly changing. You know how boys
absolutely.
in puberty have that very abrupt change? We don't have that. We
Yes,
have that later. It kind of is like a constant, like every five years, I'm like, oh, the voice is a little different now. Like it's a constant
exactly.
change.
But it's
So yeah.
exciting. It can be so exciting, that change, because it's scary on one hand, but on the other hand, what am I going to discover now? What am I going to
Mhm.
understand about my voice? What's in store for me now? Something new.
Yeah.
And it can be
Yeah.
so exciting. But you've done very, very diverse roles. You're a very versatile artist. And you also do recitals. Do
Right.
you approach recitals differently than opera? I mean, every singer has a very different way of doing this. Um, do you, for example, warm up differently before a recital? Or do you, I don't know, do different exercises? Or what's your discipline before a recital? Is it any different from opera?
Well, opera is kind of a big theatrical event. So you're there like a couple hours before the show, and you're getting your wig on, you're getting your makeup done, you're getting, a lot of people are fussing around you, right? Because they're dressing you, they're putting makeup on. You've got your people coming in saying toy, toy, toy. Lots of people, and it's just a big like hustle and bustle. Recitals are super intimate, and they're very personal, and it's almost like it's just it's just you and the pianist, or it's you and the chamber orchestra, or whatever you're doing, right? And so it's a very intimate, personal performance, which can be absolutely terrifying.
It's
If
true.
I'm quite honest, it can be super
In
terrifying for me. And I don't really approach it differently per se, but mentally, I know that it's going to be harder. It's just going to be harder for me because I can't hide behind a costume, a wig, a ton of makeup, and become another character on stage and play the funny Hosenrolle, the Carabino, the little boy character, or the frantic Dorbella. No, I'm going to sing Brahms for you. I'm going to sing Dvorak gypsy songs. I'm going to sing, like Copeland. I'm going to sing, stuff that I grew up with, or stuff that I've discovered, which has a meaning for me personally. So I'm actually sharing a bit of my soul to the audience. And that's being very vulnerable and being very like
Exactly.
exposed.
That's the scary part of it, I find, also as a performer, because that vulnerability sometimes is so frightening, because you all you have is your voice, your eyes, and your partner, of course, on stage,
Yeah. Yeah.
and you're so naked, and there's nothing in between you and the audience. All
Yeah.
there is just honesty.
Yeah.
And it's a scary thing, but when we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, I think it works incredibly well. And that's what we strive for. But I actually have here another clip, of you singing one of the most beautiful songs, and actually one of my favorites.
Oh, it's one of
Uh,
mine too.
really,
Yeah. So,
Long Time
so
Ago by
to
Aaron
set up,
Copland.
to set this up, it's Long Time Ago from Aaron Copland, and Aaron Copland, com- he like arranged uh several American folk songs. And I performed this at Arizona State University. So I was coming back as an alumni doing a recital for the first time. And I knew that my family, who's not able to travel the world and see me overseas, and the people that I went to high school with, and all like my whole community, could come and see. So I thought, what do I want to show them? I wanted to show them some beautiful Brahms, some Dvorak, some other stuff, Berg, but I also wanted to end with these Copeland songs because I knew that it's just part of our heritage, it's part of our culture, and it's important to keep that alive and to share that with I knew that was important for me to share that with them. So, yeah.
It's always important to never forget where we came from. And I feel that so strongly. I completely understand that. But I am going to show this amazing clip, and it shows a lot because you're such a diverse singer. And by the end of this interview, everyone will be absolutely amazed at how many things you can do. So stay tuned until the very end to see another facet aside from this of Angela. Okay, here we go.
I think you're muted.
Sorry, everyone. That gave me goosebumps. That was so beautiful.
Thank you. Thanks so
Thank
much,
you,
everyone.
Sybil. Everybody, please send us in your questions. If you have any questions for Angela, there are so many things that we have to talk about. I'm so excited. You have such an affinity for this music. It seems to really speak to you in a very special way. I was reading something very interesting the other day. When we had our chat last time, I spoke to you about a Romanian pianist, Dinu Lipati. He he lived very little, unfortunately, but he was an incredible pianist, very loved, and he was living in Paris, constantly writing with his teachers. And he had an offer to play a certain piano concerto, and he was saying to his teacher, "I love this piano concerto. I love it, but I don't know if it speaks to me, if it's right for me, if I can do it." To which his teacher said, "Don't play the music you love. Play the music that loves you."
I love that.
And that resonated really very strongly with me.
Yeah.
And this brings me to my next question. How do you choose your roles? What is a determining factor that helps you choose your roles? Um, you've done many trouser roles. By the way, was Hoffman your first trouser role?
Say it again.
Was Hoffman your first trouser role?
No. Carabino was my first trouser role.
We did that together too.
Marriage of Figaro. Yes, absolutely.
Um, what's the criteria on which you choose your roles? What determines you to choose a certain role? And when do you know you're
um,
ready for certain roles? And for certain roles, you have to wait.
um, First of all, yes, Gregory, that was the same program I sang in Stanford where I met you. So thanks for coming. And yeah, choosing my roles, I'm not an expert at this, if I'm quite honest. This is not something that I in the past have put a lot of thought into, because as a lyric mezzo, I was just handed Mozart roles, and those were great
Mhm.
as a young singer to develop. You can sing Mozart, like it's easy. It's not easy, but like it's what's appropriate for a developing career, right? Because
Age appropriate. Yeah.
there's so many roles to choose from. And so I'm very grateful, I have to admit, to our amazing casting director, Paul Mo, who gave me just really wonderful opportunities. The casting director of the Bayerische Staatsoper.
Yeah.
He has known me now for 12 years. He was one of the, yeah, he hired me to come here as a young
Mhm.
artist. And so him giving me the opportunity to sing Dorabella and to sing Carabino and all these Mozart roles, and then giving me the opportunity to do Niklaus, which I hadn't really known. I wasn't exposed to much of the repertoire, and I was learning as I was going and doing. So I'm grateful for very wise, considerate people who were like, maybe you should go in this direction, and they were right. And I'm very, very grateful for that. He also gave me the opportunity to sing Adalgisa
I was
in,
just going to talk about that and
yeah,
Charlotte.
in Bellini's Norma. And so these kinds of people have helped guide me and direct me. Very smart managers, especially as a young singer, you don't know where your voice is going to go and what should I be doing. And your manager has a lot of influence because he or she is getting the phone calls for work opportunities. And if they don't know where your voice can go, then, you're kind of in trouble. So, yeah. So I keep learning. I have to admit I'm not an expert at this, but I keep my mind open to receiving what is right for me. And I think there's something to say for that.
Definitely, definitely. Do you see yourself? I mean, you've done Adalgisa with a huge success here as well. Do you see yourself doing bel canto?
Yeah,
Is that something you'd like to do? Because
yeah,
there's Mozart, and then you grow into the bel canto repertoire as well,
yeah.
and then
I
maybe
have
also other
wanted,
things.
sorry, I have wanted to do my dream role, if that's a question, is to do Romeo in I Capuletti e Montecchi. I'll learn how to pronounce the title eventually. But but yeah, that's that's a role that I'd love to do, and that's going into the Donizetti, that's going into the more bel canto, and of course, as a lyric mezzo, I'm introduced to bel canto by singing Rossini, and so I've been doing
Rosina,
early
of
bel
course.
canto, which is Rossini, and that's how you learn what that style and what the form is, which is completely different than Mozart, but it's actually it's the right progression. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Is there, because we as singers, we have to be very disciplined. Do you have like a sort of ritual before a performance that just works for you? Because again, all of this is very particular. Journeys are very particular. Roles, voices are very particular. And so is discipline.
Yeah.
How are you before a performance? Aside from the normal nerves, but what's the discipline? For example, I don't speak before a performance, or I try to sleep, or
Yeah.
things like that. Are there things? What is your discipline? How do you rest or prepare for a show a day before?
Like, I can tell you what not to do. I have a lot of experiences of what not to do. Through the years, I've learned how resilient but yet fragile the voice is. And if I'm speaking too much on the day of a show, for instance, I was in San Francisco doing Niklaus. Must have been 7 years now, 7 years ago, maybe. And I just remember thinking, oh, I got this. Totally just like, oh, I got this.
Because you had done it before.
I've done this. And I was hosting people at the time. They were living with me because I had a really nice big flat. So I had guests. And I was cackling on the telephone to friends. I was laughing out loud. I was very arrogant. I was just thinking, I got this. I don't need to be like protecting my voice. Like, I was so just like, I want to be normal. I just want to be like a normal person. I don't need to like I'm not like a snowflake, right? Um but I tell you what, I did not have the best show. That was a difficult show to sing because I was already vocally tired just from speaking. Speaking is
Yeah.
sometimes the worst thing that you can do for your voice because we're not supporting
Yeah.
our sound when we're speaking. And our larynx is usually very raised when we're speaking. And as a singer, you want this is your larynx, you guys, your Adam's apple. Mine is very big for a woman. And so if when you're speaking, you can see it's just kind of up here. But when we're singing, we want it to be a little more down, a little
A
more,
little more relaxed.
able to be relaxed, to get more resonance in our voices. That's what creates the richness and the color. And so if it's too high, then it's just like, it's stressed. And if it's been high all day because you've been speaking all day, it's a stressed instrument. So that's what yeah, I've learned not to do that. And I've learned that I have to accept that I have this responsibility with this instrument. And I
What
can't
is
I can't just think that it's gonna work for me all the time. So I have to actually really take care. So yeah, so sleeping and resting
if
and
you
eating appropriately is important.
exactly. If you guys have any questions, again, I love the fact that you're all engaging and you're listening to us and listening to our clips. If you have any questions, any curiosities, just let us know. We're so happy to answer your questions. And the truth is that through discipline, you- it's a thing that you learn on the way, because we're not necessarily born knowing everything that we have to do. We learn by, I know I've learned definitely by hitting
Mistakes.
my head against the wall.
Yeah.
Not literally, but yeah, exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
Exactly. But with the discipline, I think also comes a sort of a sort of
Yeah.
relaxation, knowing that we did everything as well as we possibly could.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
that's definitely a plus. And also having friends and family who understand, okay, when you get a phone call, you send a WhatsApp, you send a message, I'm not talking today, but I have a call, and they'll understand and they'll text you back. It just makes it
Yeah.
so much easier.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
So um, I thought that we would do something kind of fun. So I I have my timer set for 30 seconds. I made a little game, a lightning round.
Okay.
So answer as many questions as you can in 30 seconds. Now, these have almost nothing to do with opera.
Good.
So, okay. Okay, where's the timer? I have the timer here.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, here we go. And favorite snack?
Chips.
Seinfeld or Friends?
Seinfeld.
Ooh. First album you ever bought?
Backstreet Boys.
You are starstruck by?
People I love or people I admire.
Coffee with anyone dead or alive. Who would it be?
Danny Kaye.
A movie that made you laugh uncontrollably.
Oh gosh. I didn't make it. I'd say any movie with Danny Kaye.
I'm not going to ask you these things. Oh, Danny Kaye, man.
Danny Kaye. Yeah. If you guys haven't seen Court Jester, go see Court Jester. It's hilarious.
Oh gosh, there are so many movies, so many movies.
Yeah.
What I'm still going to ask you this because I think they're really interesting to see this side. Your favorite foreign language?
Gregory's shocked at Backstreet Boys. I was a teenager once in the 90s.
Oh, I know. My first CD was Janet Jackson.
Oh yeah, I had Michael Jackson's History. I had his whole like 2 CD thing. Anyway, yeah. So I was a very normal kid growing up.
Exactly.
Right?
Favorite foreign language?
Well, I think what sounds the prettiest is French, if I'm quite honest. But that's probably the hardest for me to speak, to sing it.
You like singing in French?
You know, I do. It's not easy because unlike you, I struggle with languages, but I love the flow of the line, the legato of the line, and just the music is kind of composed that way too. That's what I love. So yeah.
I love singing in French. It's fantastic. It is indeed a very kind of round and suave and
there's just
very
so much
smooth language.
There's nuances because of the nasality and all that fun stuff you get to play with. Oh, Keith, I'm glad I'm your new favorite mezzo. Go Seinfeld.
Hey, dogs! Hi, Martin. Oh, this is so nice. If you weren't an opera singer, what would you be?
Growing up, thought I would want to be a meteorologist because I loved looking at the sky, and I just thought it was so fascinating, like what was going on up there and how it was changing every day. And I mean, in Arizona, where I grew up, there are the most fantastic, most beautiful sunsets you've ever seen in your life. And because of the mixture of the dirt and the pollution, the dust reflects the light and creates all these gorgeous colors. And of course, unlike now when I live in such a dense city, in the suburbs, you can see the horizon and the sunsets. I used to go and I used to sit and just watch the sunset sometimes. Or we had these amazing thunderstorms and they were like they were just lightning storms. So the lightning would not touch the ground. It would stay in the air.
Incredible.
And I would just sit there outside and just watch for hours. It was so fascinating to me. Anyway.
That's incredible. By the way, did you see the sky? So we both live in Munich.
Yeah.
And there was a thunderstorm either last night or 2 nights ago. The sky was amazing. Incredible. The clouds were just that I'm sure would be something that would have fascinated.
It still excites me today. I'm
like, actually filmed it.
The drama.
Okay. Unknown skills. Something. What can you do that we wouldn't think of, or aside from opera?
I don't know. Can you guys do this? Is that a skill?
I've got a
Okay,
really
that's a
weird one, but I don't think I can do it on camera.
I love teaching. I love teaching
Fantastic.
classes. I love teaching religious classes. I love teaching voice lessons. I just love presenting and teaching. I'm not the best maybe at it, but I love, I guess, performing in that way and instructing. And that's what we're doing as artists. So yeah.
That's a really interesting way of putting it. To
Yeah.
say, as a teacher, it's also a type of performance.
Yes,
I
absolutely.
that and it's true. If you think about it,
Yeah.
it really is true. I love
Yeah.
that. And you also play, in case our listeners don't know, you play the ukulele.
I do. I'm very amateur at the
Oh,
ukulele
it's
and the
so
piano.
fantastic. And she plays the piano, and you're just so great at so many different things.
You know what? I know I'm not the best at it, but I'm not gonna let that stop me from maybe sharing a bit of music. And it's not perfect. And I know when I post stuff, I'm not an accomplished, recording artist where I can play and singer songwriter. Like I know I'm not that, but the music, it resonates so deeply. The message of the music or the harmonic structure of it just strikes a chord with me. And I just love doing that and sharing it. And the messages are healing. And so even though it's so imperfect, I think it's important to just
To go
to
for
just
it.
share. Yeah.
Well, that's artistry.
Yeah.
That really is artistry. And to me, thinking that person's the best or that person's the best, that's so relative, you
Well,
know?
yeah, and you can't really create unless you take a risk. So in a way,
Absolutely.
I'm I am allowing myself to be vulnerable. And I know it's not perfect. And am I going to make a profession out of playing the piano and singing and serenading myself in my bedroom? No. I make what I do as a profession, I make sure is a very high quality product. But the rest is just fun and it's just sharing music and I think that's okay.
But that's what goes, I believe that's what goes to the hearts of people when it's honest, no matter how it is, but it's honest. And
Yeah, it's
that's what we do. We
yeah,
share our voices in the most raw and honest way possible. And that's the
absolutely.
beauty of it. Whether
Yeah.
something is perfect or not, I think is less important.
I
So
agree.
you play the ukulele, however you pronounce that, because I always pronounce it with a very European accent. Ukulele.
No,
That's how
that's
we would pronounce it in Romania.
yeah. Marian is like, yes, ukulele enthusiast. It's so much fun to play. And yes, Gregory, I would definitely be on television. Hello, I have to perform. So if I'm going to be a meteorologist, I'd have to be on TV.
That
Yeah,
would be fun. I would watch that.
that would be so fun. And here, yeah,
We're having some winds coming in from
we're
the
having such
south, and
we've got a tree. Exactly.
we are slowly, actually quite at the end of our time together. This has been so wonderful, Ange. I'm so happy that we could do this.
Oh,
We
thanks.
still have, for those who are with us, we still have one more bonus of Angela. Tim says play a tune on the ukulele for us.
I would. And in fact, I almost sent you a clip, Lauda, of me doing a ukulele song. But you can check me out. Go on to my YouTube channel and you can
This
find
is exactly what I was going to say.
those videos.
Subscribe to Angie's channel, because Angela Brower on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter, you will find such diverse and exciting content. Make sure you subscribe to her YouTube channel. But for everybody with us, we won't, not maybe Angela will play a ukulele tune for us some other time, next time,
I've got to
because
practice, you guys.
this is not the last time you're going to see us.
Yeah.
I'll leave links to all her channels in the description box. Hop over to my channel as well. Subscribe for all the content that I have for my music and interviews and trailers. And thank you so much. And this has been incredible. Thank
Oh,
you
it's
to
been
our
fun.
audience. Thank you so much for engaging with us. This has been so exciting. We have now a last clip of Angela singing. So we had her singing Niklaus, we had her singing Copeland, and now we have her singing a gorgeous song cover of Leonard Bernstein's Somewhere. And we're going to leave you with that. Thank you so much, Angela. You are amazing. You are impressive. Everything you've done, your honesty as an artist is so moving, and it's so wonderful to be able to speak to you in this way and to understand more of your human and personal side. Thank you so much for everything.
Thanks, Laura.
And thank you so much to our audience. I wish you all a great evening, and thanks for tuning in.
And we miss you.
Bye.
There's a place for us, somewhere a place for us, peace and quiet and open air. Wait for us somewhere. There's a time for us. Someday a time for us. Time together with time to spare. Time to learn. Time to care. Someday, somewhere, we'll find a new way of living. We'll find a way of forgiving somewhere. There's a place for us, a time and a place